Welcome to Microsoft Dynamics CRM Online 2015 Update 1 CRM for Phones. After this course, you'll understand how the new CRM for Phones app delivers on the design once and deploy everywhere principle. You'll see how the great features introduced in the CRM for Tablet app are now available on your phone. We'll discover some slight differences and some important considerations. You'll also have an understanding of the requirements for using this new phone app. The CRM for Tablet app introduced in CRM 2013 allowed you to stay connected and productive on a broader range of devices. With CRM Online 2015 Update 1, you can now access those same capabilities from your phone. This new phone app helps provide a consistent experience whether you're accessing from your computer, tablet, or phone. You'll see that you can analyze your data via dashboards and charts, and when working on records such as leads or opportunities, you have the same guided processes to help you know what you need to do next. As we review the user interface of the phone app, you'll notice how the design was guided by some of these principles. The touch-optimized experience designed initially for the tablet app has been optimized for the form factor of a phone. You still have the great features like the process-driven forms, but they just render in a slightly different way. Also, the phone app uses the same form definitions as the web and tablet apps, providing a configure once and deploy everywhere customization experience. If you are familiar with the previous phone app, you may be aware that it did not use the same form definitions as the web and tablet apps, so you had to customize a completely different form. Anytime you added a new field, you had to remember to add it to multiple forms for users to see it on their phone. The features were fairly limited and not consistent with the web or tablet app. Now with the reimagined phone app, you can customize a single form which is then used by the web, tablet, phone, and Outlook client. One of the other major limitations with the prior phone app is that it did not support running any business rules or JavaScript. With the new phone app, the same business rules and JavaScript can run across all devices, providing a consistent and highly extensible experience. Let's take a quick look at the experience of the new reimagined phone app. Here we're looking at the experience on the Windows Phone, which is pretty much identical to what's available on the Android and iPhones. And here we'll start by seeing that we're on the home page by default. And this app has already been configured. The configuration experience is really identical to configuring the tablet app. And once you're configured, you land on the sales dashboard by default. And you'll notice that one thing that's different is showing me that there's an option here to pin records or views here as shortcuts. So same type of thing that you can do in the tablet app. It's just giving you a visual indicator that that's what you can do. One thing you'll notice is that as compared to the tablet app, this is rendering in the portrait mode, whereas the tablet app renders in landscape, and you can see multiple different lists of records or whatever at the same time. Here you're looking at one pane at a time, and you can swipe from right to left to get to the different panes. So here I'm on the dashboard and can navigate right to left. I can see a visual indicator at the bottom giving me an idea of where I'm at within the context of that dashboard. I can see that there's two more things to the right, and you can see as I switch, it's changing that indicator here. So I can do all the types of things I can do in the tablet app. I can drill into charts to see up the different records that make up that piece of the chart. I can view my sitemap navigation to view all the different areas that are available, such as dashboards and the different entities that are enabled for both the tablet and phone app. And this also includes any of your custom entities that you choose to enable. So very quickly I can switch to the accounts area, view my list of accounts, view my list of contacts, switch to a list of opportunities. I can click to or tap on a specific record to open up that record. And again, similar to the dashboard, I navigate one pane at a time. Also, I can go back and forth, up and down if there's additional details not shown on the pane. Also, I can see that the process navigation is available. I just need to tap a stage to view the current steps that are available. I can move to the next stage. I can choose to complete different steps. Also, the command bar is always available and provides you contextual command bar options based off of the context of the record. You can see once I switch back to viewing the normal part of the form, I have different actions that are available. So I'm going to switch to the search option, and here I can search for a record just like in the tablet app. I can search for Contoso, and it's showing one pane at a time, so I just need to swipe to the right to view the other entities that match the search criteria that I used. Also, I can choose to switch to the dashboards area and see all the different dashboards. I can choose to switch to a different dashboard, Maybe I'm a customer service representative. I could choose to switch to the customer service representative dashboard or the customer service manager dashboard. And I could choose to make this my default dashboard that I see on the phone app. So I can choose to set that as my home page. Also, I could choose to set a different dashboard as a shortcut on my home tab. So I could choose to switch this to customer service representative dashboard, and I could choose to pin this to my home screen. Also, I could go to a record such as an opportunity. I could press and hold and choose to pin that to my home screen, or I could choose to pin the entire list of records to my home screen. And now when I go back to my home, you can see that I have the different tiles there that are shortcuts for those records, lists, or dashboards. So it's just a very quick look at the navigation experience, and it's very similar to what you have in the tablet app and provides you that consistent experience across tablet and phone. In this section, we will review the supported configurations for the new CRM for Phones app. One thing to note is that the prior phone app is being renamed as CRM for Phones Express, and the new reimagined phone app will be named CRM for Phones. As you can see in this matrix of supported configurations, the new app is only available for connecting to a CRM Online organization with 2015 Update 1. 2015 Update 1 has a build version of 7.1. You can see this in the Help About option within CRM Online. CRM Online 2015 Update 1 is an online-only release, so on-premises customers will not be able to use this new phone app until a later release. The CRM for Phones Express app can connect to CRM 2013 and CRM 2015, but is not planned to be supported in a later release after 7.1. The last thing we'll look at in relation to supported configurations is the device support matrix. Just like the tablet app, the phone app is supported on iOS, Android, and Windows. So on an iPhone, you can be running that on iOS 7 or iOS 8. For Android phones, it needs to be 4.4 currently, and for Windows Phone, it is currently 8.1. One thing to be aware of is that the product team is constantly working to support the latest versions of all these different operating systems, so you want to check back to the official documentation for the latest supported configurations. One additional topic to cover is the language support. The thing to understand is that it's the same languages that are supported with the tablet app. And you can refer to the following TechNet article for the full list of support languages. One easy way to think of this is that it's currently the same as all the supported languages in CRM, except for Hebrew and Arabic. And if you compare this to the previous phone app supported a much smaller subset of languages. So in the previous phone app, you might have been using a language that wasn't supported, but now if you look at what's available in the new phone app, you would see that all the CRM languages currently other than Hebrew and Arabic are available for that new phone app. One of the great things about the new phone app is that it is almost identical to the tablet app as far as features and user experience. There are mostly just some small rendering differences to optimize it for the phone form factor, which has a smaller screen size than a tablet. The number of functional differences is very small, and we will review the notable differences in the upcoming slides. One thing to note is that this video will not be an exhaustive list of every feature available, since it's mostly identical to the tablet app. For that reason, there are slides at the end of this session that point you to additional videos about the features in the tablet app, which would also apply to this new phone app. One of the most important rendering differences to understand is that the tablet app is always displayed in landscape, and the phone app is always displayed in portrait. So no matter which way you turn your device, the tablet app is always in landscape, and the phone app is always portrait. And here you can see a picture of what this looks like in the tablet app when looking at an account record here such as AdventureWorks, and on the right hand side you can see some screenshots of viewing that same record on the phone app. And you can see on the bottom left in the tablet app, you can see that there's different columns of information, or you can refer to these as tabs or panes. You can see there's the relationships showing different tiles, then there's the summary section of different fields, and then there's different subgrids. This is just showing part of the form, and you could swipe over to see additional panes. Whereas on the phone app, you're always only seeing one pane at a time. So you can see what you're seeing in this first screenshot is the same as what you see on the leftmost side in the tablet app on the form. To get to this next column of fields, you need to swipe over from right to left. You can see that you're first on the first section, and then if you do a swipe from right to left, you'd go to the second section, and seeing that same list of fields that you see in the tablet app. So it's really the exact same information. It's just that on the phone app you don't have the real estate and you're only viewing one pane at a time, and you swipe from right to left to get to the next panes. And this is the same for viewing a form or a dashboard. So let's just do a really quick comparison here between the tablet app and the phone app. This is the tablet app on the dashboard, and you can see that there's multiple different lists and charts that can be viewed at once. And if I drill into a record such as Coho Winery, an account record, I can see again that there's multiple different columns of information that I'm able to see at once. Plus I can scroll from side to side to view additional columns of information. Whereas once we look at the phone, you'll see that we're only seeing one column at a time, and we need to swipe from side to side to see each of those different columns. Now here I've switched over to the phone app, and you can see I'm on the sales dashboard, and you can see here there's the indicator at the bottom indicating that there's multiple different panes I can look at that are on the right side here. I can swipe from right to left, and here you can see that here's that first list of records that you were seeing in the tablet dashboard. And to see that next list of records, you just continue swiping from right to left. And you can go back, of course. So I could switch back, go back to that same record that I looked at in the tablet app, Coho Winery. And again, same experience where you're seeing the one pane at a time, and you have a visual indicator showing you that there's several other more panes to look at. You just need to swipe from right to left to access that information. So you can see really the exact same experience. It's just that I'm only seeing one pane at a time in the phone, whereas in the tablet app I might be seeing multiple rows of information or columns of information at once. The next thing we'll look at is that the process control that you see renders in a slightly different way on the phone. You still have that process guided experience on the forms that you have in the web and tablet apps, it's just rendered in a slightly different way due to the real estate that's available. So you'll see that you still have the process control on the top, and you just need to tap a stage to view the different steps that are available. And we'll take a quick look at this within the tablet app and then also in the phone app. So I'll start off by looking at an opportunity record in the tablet app. In the upper right I can see the currently active process, I can see the different stages that are available, and I can see what is the currently active stage in that process. Also at all times there's a section on the tablet app form showing me the different steps within the current stage. So if I navigate to the next stage, I would see that it would switch here to show that the closing stage is the currently active stage, and then I see the different steps in that stage. So now we'll compare this to the phone app. Now we'll take a look at that same record in the phone app. You can see at the very top of the form there is the process control that renders. You can see it's currently in the close stage, but there's no place on the form that's showing me the list of steps for that active stage. The way I need to view the list of steps, I need to tap on the stage name. And here you can see that I see that list of steps, and I have an option to view the command bar to view all the different contextual commands available for that process. So I could switch to a different process if there was one available. Since I'm already on the last stage, I could click backstage and get back to that previous stage. And here, if I was not on the last stage, I have the option of clicking this button or tapping on it to move to the next stage. And once I'm done interacting with the process, I just tap the X button, and it takes me back to the place on the form that I was before I open up the process control. Another rendering difference you might notice is when you drill into a chart. We'll jump into the tablet and phone apps to compare the experiences. So here in the tablet app, I'm going to tap on a piece of the chart to see the records that make up that piece of the chart. And you'll see it switches to a different rendering experience where on the left-hand side I see the chart, and the right-hand side I see the records that represent that piece of the chart that I had tapped on. If I tap on a different piece of the chart, it shows the different records that match that piece of the chart. Also, I can tap outside of it to see the full list of records. Now we'll take a quick comparison of this to the phone app. Now I'm looking at that exact same chart in the phone app, and you can see here I'm on the dashboard. I'm just going to swipe back to get back to that chart, and when I tap on this time, you'll see that it's now switching to see only the list of the records that make up that piece of the chart. And now you can see the indicator at the bottom is showing that there's two different panes. There's the list of records, or I could swipe over to see the chart again. If I tap a different section of the chart, again it shows me just the records that make up that piece of the chart. So I can switch back and forth and tap and switch back to get back to the chart. So that's a slight rendering experience that you see in the phone app compared to the tablet app. Another thing you might notice between the tablet and phone app is that in the tablet app there's two different experiences you might see when viewing a list of records. If you're on a dashboard or maybe looking at a subgrid of records within a form, you're seeing a simplified list, kind of similar to what you see here in the phone app on the right hand side. But if you're in the tablet app and you go to the sitemap navigation and you choose to look at the accounts entity or contacts entity, There you're viewing just a list of records for one entity, and you're just viewing one list at a time. And there it's able to take advantage of the full real estate on the tablet app in the landscape mode. And what you'd see then is that you're seeing the same definition of columns that you have for that same view in the web application. So whatever columns you have defined for that view would show up in the tablet app. However, in the phone app, you're always seeing the simplified list. So the way that that works, this is covered in the tablet app training, is that if the entity is image enabled, you would see the icon here, or the image if there is one, and then you would see the primary attribute, and then the first two columns from that view definition. So here you can see email address and the company name are the first two columns besides the primary attribute. If there wasn't an image for that entity, or the entity was not enabled for images, you would see one additional column in the view. One other slight difference you might notice between the tablet and phone apps is the position of header fields. And header fields on the web application are at the top of the form in the upper right, but on the tablet app, the rendering experience on the form is that the first column of information you see is the list of relationships related to that record, and also potentially at the top you might have a communication card. It's not until that second pane of information, or second column of information, where you see the list of fields. And at the very top of that set of fields is the header fields. When you compare this though to the phone application, you'd see that on that first pane of information, the header fields are always at the top. So you can see the same set here is what's over here. The only difference is that these header fields are on top of this over on the phone application. So there's a slight difference of how the header fields are displayed in the tablet app compared to the phone. The last rendering difference that we'll discuss is related to the command bar. And this one will probably be easier to understand when we look at the apps themselves. So we'll jump over to the tablet app, look at the command bar there, and then compare it to what's available in the phone application. Let's start by taking a look at the command bar in the tablet app. First thing you might notice is that you don't see the option for the command bar here. I'm looking at a Windows device, so the way that you would access this on a Windows device on the tablet is swiping up from the bottom to get the list of commands that are available. And since I'm on a dashboard showing me multiple different columns of information, different lists and charts, when I don't have anything selected, I'm seeing a global set of commands such as new record and refresh. But if I switch the context to select an entire list, then the commands change to be contextual based off of what's currently selected. Same thing if I open up a specific record such as Alpine Ski House here. You'll see that without selecting anything, if I open up the command bar, you'll see some different available actions. But if I switch over to maybe pressing and holding on a list of contacts over here, I see a different set of options available. Also, if I switch over to an opportunity record, you'd see that there's different sets of commands available for opportunities compared to other different types of records. So here you can see different sets of options. There's also an overflow option where I can choose to click on this, and it gives me a flyout of additional commands that are available. So we'll compare this now to what's available in the phone app. Also notice, as we'll show later, there is an open in browser command option that's here that we won't see in the phone app. One other last thing I want to show is that if I press and hold on the processes, this is how I get to the back stage to switch back a stage or switch a process here in the tablet app. Now I'll switch over to the phone app. Now let's take a quick look at the experience in the phone app. Here I'm on the dashboard, and remember with the phone app you're only viewing one pane or a list of records at a time. So here, compared to the tablet app, to see a contextual list of commands for the tablet app, I had to press and hold on the list at the top. And with the phone app though, I'm only ever looking at one single list. So I'm always in context of that list. So when I view the command bar, I see the contextual commands available for that specific list I'm looking at, plus I see that global list of commands available such as new record and refresh. Also, you can drill into some of these to view additional options. So like if I go to new record, it takes me to a different set of commands such as selecting which type of record I want to create. If I switch over to something like the dashboards area, you can see that when I view the list of commands here, it's contextual again. If I choose select view, I drill into seeing the list and then choosing which list I want to see. So same thing if I go into a list of records such as an opportunity and open up the form, you'll see that the list of commands is contextual. Just like in the tablet app, the list of commands comes from the ribbon XML that you have defined in your web application. You can use that to control which commands are available in the tablet application, phone app, and the web application. By default, When you add a new command, it's available in all the different locations, but you can have it maybe not display in mobile and only in the web application if it doesn't make sense. So it does reuse that same command definition. You just have the ability to control if you want it to show up in the tablet and phone apps or only web application, and vice versa. So as you can see, as I swipe over, if I switch to a different location, it's switching to be in context of that list of records that I'm looking at, such as a subgrid within a form. If I choose to look at the process, again, the context changes to show me the commands that are context sensitive for that current context. Besides the slight rendering differences that we just finished reviewing, there are only a few functional differences to note. The most important one to be aware of is that there's currently no duplicate detection in the phone app. In the web application and tablet app, when you are creating a record or modifying an existing record, if your duplicate detection rules consider that a duplicate, you would receive a notification before you're able to save that record, and you can choose what to do with it. Within the phone application though, even though that record might be a potential duplicate, you would save that without any warning. So that is one of the existing differences. Be aware though that the web application does have the ability to schedule the running of your duplicate detection rules too, so that can help fill the gap while this feature is not yet available in the phone application. The next one to talk about is iframes and web resources. These are extensibility features that you can use in the web application. In the tablet app, you can do this in CRM Online, but it's only as a preview feature, which means it's not supported to use that in production usage. It's just kind of allowing you to have a preview of that feature and provide feedback on it before it is something that is supported in the tablet app. So that is not currently something you can test in the phone application though. Lastly, the other one to cover is the open in browser command. So within the tablet app, we'd seen this earlier that one of the commands available is open in browser. And this is also something that could be helpful in relation to other features that are, not just available not in the phone application, but not available in the tablet app either. So this list has kind of been focusing on differences of what's available in the tablet app that's not in the phone app, but there's also different features that are available in the web application that aren't in the tablet application, such as Yammer or Bing Maps integration. So one thing to be aware of is that in the past you could have used open in the browser in the tablet application to potentially view that information on your tablet, but in the phone application, open in browser is not available because there isn't an equivalent browser experience that you have on the phone application. So the previous slide was talking about features available in the tablet application that are not available in the phone application. This slide is actually talking about some things that are available on the phone that aren't available in the tablet application. So in the previous Windows Phone application, this existed as well with the prior release of Cortana integration. So with the Cortana integration, you could use voice commands to search for a record or start creating a record in the Windows Phone app. And that voice integration is only available on Windows Phone. And that same set of functionality that was available in the previous Windows Phone application is now available in the new Windows Phone application. The last thing to discuss is something that will be covered in more detail in the customization topic for the phone application, but we'll talk about briefly here, and that's the ability to hide components. This is something you can only do for the phone. You'll see that in different components such as tabs, sections, subgrids, fields, and charts, when you're customizing dashboards or forms, you'll see that within those components there's an option of whether or not you want that to be available on the phone. So you don't see an equivalent option for available on tablet. When you add something to the forms, they are going to show by default on the tablet unless you use potentially JavaScript to hide those things. But on the phone application, you have the ability to control whether or not that tab, section, subgrid, field, or chart will show up on the phone. So any of those different components, if you go to the properties of them in the customization area, you'll be able to uncheck that checkbox if you don't want that to appear on the phone application. One of the new features in this release for the tablet and phone is the ability to launch maps by tapping on an address. And we'll take a look at this in the apps themselves. First we'll start in the tablet app by opening up an account record. We'll open up AdventureWorks and you'll notice that the address fields are now clickable. So I can tap on these and it'll open up a map alongside here. And that's only available in the Windows application, is that it's able to open up side-by-side applications. You can change the size. For the other applications, it would just switch to the map for that device. And also I could use this to get directions to meeting up with this account or contact. Now let's take a look at this in the phone app. Other thing to mention though briefly is that I mentioned before that the Bing Maps control that can appear in the web application is not available in the tablet or phone apps, but by having the ability to tap on an address, that kind of fills the gap a little bit of being able to view map information from the tablet and phone apps. Now we'll look at that same feature on the phone application. So if I swipe over to see the address fields, I can tap on that and it's going to switch over to seeing the map, and just like before I can choose to get directions to that account address. Let's review a couple important considerations to keep in mind. One is related to cache records and personalization. If you're familiar with the tablet application, you might be aware that as you're viewing records, it's caching that information on your device so it's available for faster viewing later, and also if you lose your connection and need to work offline, that information is available to view offline, and you can also have the functionality to add new draft records that are child records of those records. So that same offline functionality and caching works in the phone application. The important thing to understand though is that that caching is on the device level, it's stored at the device. So if you're choosing to view records on the tablet app and then you later switch to the phone app, it doesn't have those same records cached. It's based off of what you viewed on each individual device. So be aware that that is separate right now. Also similar in relation to this is personalization. One of the things you can do for personalization is pinning tiles to your dashboard for shortcuts to views, records, and dashboards. You can create shortcuts by pinning records to the dashboard. Also on Windows devices, you can pin those type of records to your start screen. But one thing to be aware of again is that that information is stored at the device level. So if you pin a record to your dashboard on your tablet app, it doesn't automatically pin it as a pin tile on the phone app. That is separate right now. Another thing to be aware of is that the pinch and zoom gestures are not available on the phone app, and that's the same as the tablet app as well. It just might be more noticeable on the phone app because you're looking at a smaller screen. So if you had something like a chart that is maybe expected to show in a large amount of space and you're able to view that okay on the tablet app, in the phone application it might be more noticeable that you can't see things as easily on the small screen, and you're not able to pinch and zoom to zoom in to pieces of that chart. That is one of the limitations currently in the first release of the phone app. The last thing to cover in this section is related to permissions. And to use the phone app, it's really the same permissions required to use the tablet app. And you might be aware from the prior release that the privilege used for the tablet app was called CRM for Tablet. That privilege has been renamed now to CRM for Mobile, so it can apply to both the phone app and the tablet app. The previously existing privilege called CRM for Phones has been renamed to CRM for Phones Express, and that's to match the renaming of the old phone application. As mentioned earlier in this video, this is not going to be an exhaustive list of all the different features that you can use in the tablet and phone apps because most of it is identical between both of them. So here I've provided some links to additional training videos that talk about the tablet app, and these same set of features and functionality would apply to the phone app as well. So you can refer to any of these different videos to learn more about working with records offline in the tablet app, and that would also apply to the phone app. In this section, we'll review some of the customization related topics for the CRM for Phones apps. As mentioned in some of the other CRM for Phones videos, one of the great benefits of the new phone apps is the ability to design a form once and use it across all experiences including web, tablet, phone, and Outlook. All of the rich business logic that you add to your forms can run across all devices with a consistent user experience. So although the new phone apps allow you to use that same form across all the different devices, there is some flexibility with the phone apps where you can modify your customizations to hide certain things such as tabs, sections, subgrids, and fields, and also on dashboards you can hide charts to not appear on the phone application. So we'll take a look at that in the customization experience. Here in the web application I've navigated to Settings and Customizations, and I click Customize the System. I'm going to expand out Entities, Account, and Forms. So as mentioned before, the same main form is used now by the web application, tablet app, and the phone app. This other form type called Mobile Express is the one that's used by the previous phone apps. So to make customizations for the new phone app, I need to modify the main form definition. So here you can see that if I double click on any of the different components here on the form, such as this section here that contains the address, you'll see there's an availability section for available on phone. If I didn't want that section to appear on the phone, all I need to do is uncheck it, save it, and publish my customizations. Same thing for a specific field. So if I didn't want possibly the website field for some reason to show up on the CRM for Phones application, I can just choose to open up the properties of that and choose to make that field not available on phone. So there's not an equivalent option for the tablet app. You can potentially use JavaScript to hide things based off of detecting that it's the tablet app and hide it through that means, but there's not an option here in the customization to just unclick a checkbox to hide things from the tablet app. By default, anything that's valid to show up in the tablet app that's been added to the form will show up in the tablet app. Same thing available for things like subgrids and also tabs. Each of those you can choose available for phone and uncheck it. Besides hiding components on forms, you can also hide things on dashboards. So if I switch down to the dashboards area here, I'll open up a specific dashboard such as the sales activity dashboard. And here's my dashboard. If I didn't want one of these components to appear in the phone app, I can also control that too, just like I could for the form customizations. On the bottom here, there's an option of available on phone, and exact same thing. I just need to uncheck it and save those customizations for it to not appear anymore on the phone application. One thing to be aware of anytime you're making changes to customizations for the phone or tablet is that the phone and the tablet will cache those customizations until the next time you reopen the application, or if it's been over 24 hours, it'll detect that there has been some customization changes. So if you're making some changes, one of the things you can do is just close the app and reopen it, and it should detect that there's new metadata customizations to download, and it'll download those latest customizations. The entities that are supported in the tablet app are identical to what's supported in the new phone app, and it uses the exact same setting to control whether an entity is enabled for the tablet and the phone application. And there's a different setting for the prior phone application. And you can see in the customization area, you'll locate that within each entity there's an option for Outlook and mobile settings. And the first option has been relabeled now. It used to be called just Enable for Phone. Because it applies to the previous phone app, it's been relabeled to Enable for Phone Express. So to control whether an entity is enabled for the prior phone app, you can use this option. This other option used to be called an Enable for Tablet. But now that it applies to both the tablet app and the new phone app, it's been relabeled to Enable for Phone. So clicking this one checkbox enables that entity to be available in the new phone app and the tablet application. So switching back to the web application, we'll just take a quick look at where you can locate those customization options. So for each entity, you can select the entity at this level, and below here you'll see options to enable it for tablet and phone, and it's all now through the same setting. So here you can see that under the Outlook and mobile section, this one checkbox here, Enable for Mobile, is used for the tablet app and also the new phone app. This other one is used for the prior phone app. The last customization related topic we'll talk about is detecting the phone via the SDK. So there's an existing client API available that allows you to detect the context of what the user's on when they're interacting with the form, and that allows you to detect whether they're on the web application, Outlook client, or mobile. Mobile lets you know that they're either on the tablet app or the phone application, but sometimes you might have a situation where you want to know, is it really the phone or is it the tablet, and you want to have your code run differently. So a new client API is being introduced called getFormFactor, and you can use this in combination potentially with the other existing client API. And this one allows you to identify whether it's coming from a tablet phone form factor or the phone form factor. So if you wanted to handle this differently, you could check the getFormFactor and see if it returns phone, and handle the experience differently for when the user is accessing from a phone. And this will be fully documented in the SDK, so you can refer to that for the full documentation. In this section, we'll talk about some troubleshooting related topics in relation to the CRM for Phones apps. First thing to be aware of is that the configuration process and pretty much the entire application is identical between the phone application and the tablet application. It's really just some rendering differences for the most part. The configuration process authentication is really the same. So if you have an issue on the phone app, you're most likely going to have that exact same issue on the tablet app. And one reason to keep that in mind is that sometimes reproducing an issue and troubleshooting on the tablet app could potentially be easier than trying to troubleshoot it on your phone. might open up additional possibilities of using other tools like Fiddler to capture information about what's going on as part of that connection. One other simple thing to understand though with configuration issues is that just like in the tablet app, if you're having an issue, it should be surfacing a link like this as part of the message that provides you a link to the help. And this help link will take you to an article that was created to help troubleshoot issues in the tablet and phone apps such as configuration. So make sure you refer to that and look for the error you're getting that matches that on the page to help identify what are the potential causes of that issue. Another thing that's available from that help link that's referenced here below is how to enable tracing. So one thing that you may need to do from time to time is that if you're getting an error message that doesn't give you sufficient details to understand how to fix it, you might need to capture tracing and look at the error logs that are generated, and that might provide you additional detail to help solve your issue. So in the last slide there was a mention of tracing. If you're familiar with the tablet applications and how to enable tracing in those applications, for iOS and Android it's really the exact same steps on the phone and the tablet app. One difference though is with Windows Phone compared to a Windows tablet device. So the tracing really uses the same type of tracing behind the scenes. In the tablet app you can use the event viewer to enable that type of tracing, but in the phone app you don't have the ability to go and enable tracing in the event viewer directly. So that's where there's an additional app that's required to enable tracing on the Windows Phone device, and that app is called FieldMedic. You can search for that in the Windows Phone store. And if you refer back to the troubleshooting article for troubleshooting configuration issues, the one that's mentioned in the previous page, that'll have detailed information about how to enable tracing for the different devices, including how to enable that on the Windows Phone here. And that'll cover how to install this additional app, how to enable some additional logging for Windows Phone, reproduce your issue, and view the additional details gathered by the event logs that were logged to your event viewer. If you've watched all the CRM for Phones videos that are part of this course, you should now have a good understanding of how the new phone apps provide the ability to design one form and use it across all the different experiences, across the web, phone, tablet, and the Outlook client. Also, you should have a good understanding of the different features that are available and how it's really mostly the same functionality that's available in the tablet app, now providing a consistent experience across tablet, phone, and web application. Also, you should have an understanding of the different requirements that are needed to use this new phone application. In this next section, we'll talk about some upgrade considerations for customers that are using the prior version of the phone apps. And as mentioned before, the phone apps for the prior version have been renamed to CRM for Phones Express. The new version is going to be referred to as CRM for Phones. To understand this topic a little bit better, we'll start with a simplified history of the different mobile experiences available for CRM. Starting around the CRM 2011 release, there was something released called Mobile Express. And this wasn't an actual phone app that you installed, it was just that when you browsed to your CRM URL on your phone, you would be redirected to this experience that was tailored for a phone. You'd see a list of the different entities that were supported to use with this application, which was not all entities. And when you open up a record of a certain type, such as an account, you'd basically just see a list of fields. And through your customizations, you could modify the mobile form for the entity and basically just change which fields you wanted to have displayed and the order of them. And that was it as far as functionality. You could view a list of fields, change the values of those fields, but there's only a few different actions you could perform for each of the different record types, such as creating a new record, deleting it, and a few other things. Starting with CRM 2013 is when the CRM for Tablet application was released, and very closely after that was CRM for Phones. And the functionality in that CRM for Phones app that released at that time was very similar to what was available in the browser experience with Mobile Express. And one thing is that it was an application that you installed, but it was mostly the same functionality of just looking at simplified lists and only a few different actions you could perform with the different record types. There were still a lot of different limitations. You couldn't view charts, you couldn't run JavaScript on those phone applications, and it wasn't a consistent experience between the phone and the tablet apps. Each update since CRM 2013 has introduced enhancements to the tablet application. For example, with CRM 2015, they added multiple dashboards and the ability to create draft records while you're offline. As part of CRM Online 2015 Update 1, some completely new phone applications were introduced, and these are now being called CRM for Phones. The previously existing phone apps are being renamed to CRM for Phones Express. These new phone apps are providing a consistent experience now between the phone app and the tablet app. So now let's talk about some important things to understand for customers that are still using the prior phone apps. So as mentioned before, the existing phone apps have been renamed now to CRM for Phones Express. And other thing to be aware of is that you can use the new app and the old app at the same time. They can both be installed, but they do provide different sets of functionality that we'll talk about later. One thing to be aware of is that the new app, though, does require 7.1, which is basically CRM Online 2015 Update 1 or later. If you're using the prior app, you can use that to connect to earlier versions such as CRM 2013 all the way through CRM 2015 Update 1, but the new app has to start with a minimum of 7.1 for the server you're connecting to. If you're using the old app and you connect it now to an updated CRM Online organization with the 2015 Update 1, you'll get a notification that your organization's been updated and that there is a newer app available. So you can see that notification in the bottom left here. Also, if you're trying to use the new phone app to connect to a CRM organization that is not on 7.1 yet, you will get a notification that 7.1 is required, and you'll get pointed back to the previous phone apps to use those in the meantime. One thing to be aware of with a new phone application is it does have the identical entity support to the tablet app. And the other thing too is, in addition to the out-of-the-box entities that are supported, you can also enable any custom entity to be accessed from the tablet app and phone apps if you want. Another thing to be aware of is that with the prior phone app, it used something called the mobile form type. So here you can see in the customization area, when you're looking at the different forms for maybe the account entity, you could see there was a form type column, and there was one that used to be called Mobile that's now renamed to Mobile Express, and that was a form you would customize to control what would be viewed on the Mobile Express app or the previous CRM for Phones app. Now that's been relabeled to Mobile Express. The new phone apps, though, use the exact same form experience as the web and tablet apps. So that just uses your main form definition you define here, which allows you to define your customizations once and use them across the web application, tablet app, and the phone app. One thing that was mentioned in the prior slide is that the new phone app has the exact same entity support as the tablet app. One thing to be aware of, though, is that the previous phone app actually supported some entities that are not currently available in the tablet and phone apps. And you can see that list of entities on the right-hand side here. So if any of those entities are entities that your users need to use on their mobile phone, that would only be available if they continue using the old phone application. It's not currently available on the new phone app. This last topic is specific to the Windows Phone app. The prior Windows Phone app had a feature that was only available on Windows Phone. It wasn't available on iOS or Android. And that feature was ability to use activity feeds in the phone app. So you could choose to view conversations from activity feeds. You could choose to like comments, post comments, read comments, and that was only available on the Windows Phone app. That's not available in the new version of the Windows Phone app. So if you have users that were using the Windows Phone app, that would be one feature that they would lose by moving to the new Windows Phone app. So besides these differences we've noticed here, there are a lot of other benefits, though, that are available in the new phone apps that are not available in any of the old versions of the phone app. So there's a lot more benefit to come by switching to the new phone apps than the few things that you would potentially lose while those features are not currently available in the new phone apps.